Okay, so thank you and welcome to the Energy Access Relief Fund Helpdesk workshop on integrating sustainability for shared value creation. We look forward to an engaging and informative session as we discuss the benefits of integrating sustainability into your business practices. Before we begin, please allow me to go over a few house rules for your convenience. One, today's session will be recorded and that recording will be available after the event for viewing. Two, all attendees are currently muted. However, the participants may be unmuted during the panel discussions and the Q&A sessions that we'll be having ahead. And if you're an attendee, if you have any questions for the presenters, please feel free to use the chat feature or raise your hand button and I will give you an opportunity to speak. We encourage you to share information and feel free to give us feedback as we progress with the workshop. We encourage you to use real life examples of your company's experiences, and we also request that you respect the diversity of opinions and experiences that we'll be having throughout this session. A certificate will be issued to participants after the workshop and after the completion of a short survey, which we will send out after this session. Our trainer for today is Amboya John. He is an environmental and social safeguards specialist. But before he speaks, allow me to give my colleague, Monica Wamboi, who is the Senior Associate at CLASP, an opportunity to give her opening remarks. Monica, welcome.
Thanks, Dennis. Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Wamboi, and I work with CLASP in our Nairobi office. So CLASP is the administrator of the Energy Access Relief Fund Helpdesk. And I want to welcome and join you and thank you for joining this workshop today, which Dennis has mentioned is going to focus on integrating sustainability to create value. So this is the second workshop under the Energy Access Relief Fund Helpdesk. The first one focused on introductory elements and was held in May. And in case you would like to watch or listen in on this webinar, please send us a note on the email address that you can just see on just immediately under our Helpdesk contact details. Please send us a note and we can send you that link. So the Helpdesk was created with funding from the World Bank to provide technical assistance to applicants of the Energy Access Relief Fund, which is being managed by CIMA. It's focusing on several pertinent topics around the environmental social management systems, or more popularly known as ESMS, including e-waste management, development, implementation, and improvement of ESMS systems, stakeholder engagement, labor and working conditions, sustainable supply chains, and the Google Consumer Protection Code. So this webinar is one of the capacity building strategies that the Helpdesk will utilize to build the fundees' capacity. However, we would like to invite you to reach out again to the email address there that you can see on the screen in case you would need or you would like individual support on any of the topics that I have just mentioned. Finally, the importance of sustainability cannot be ignored. We live in an ecosystem that has 4 key dimensions, and John is going to talk more about this: the society, environment, culture, and economy. But then sustainability is vital for continuity and for getting that sweet spot across these 4 dimensions that are, again, very vital for existence. And so today's workshop will help us to understand the concept of sustainability, learn the value, and explore the process of integrating sustainability into our day-to-day businesses. So I invite you again to listen, to engage as much as possible. And as Dennis mentioned, the sustainability journey is one of continuous improvement. And so we therefore welcome you to share as much of your experiences openly for enhanced understanding and knowledge exchange. Thank you so much. Welcome. And I will proceed to welcome our trainer for the day, John Amboya.
Thank you very much, Monica and Dennis, for those remarks. So as Monica has indicated, I'm an environmental and social management system specialist, also an ESG specialist. So I'll be taking the participants through mostly discussions on sustainable development and how it applies to business, and then trying to explore whether it has any value for the businesses that integrate the same in their operations. So that is a discussion for today, the discussion topic, the training that we are going through. So we'll be mostly exploring how, as Valia explained, how businesses can get value from integrating sustainability. So in terms of the takeaways from the workshop today, the first thing is that the participants should understand the concept and history of sustainable development and sustainable business. And then the second one is the participants to learn the value of integrating sustainability. So here we look at the concepts of sustainability integration and how they are linked, and then reflect on the benefits of integrating sustainability and also applying a value perspective. And then under that section, we'll also look at the barriers. What is stopping businesses from integrating sustainability? So we like to look at real-life practices on some of the barriers that prevent businesses from integrating sustainability. And then the last part will be about exploring the processes. How can a business integrate sustainability in its day-to-day operations? So I think Dennis has covered this. So I'll just reiterate that I'm encouraging openness and information sharing. As much as possible, we try to use information that is from our companies, from our experience, rather than using general terms. So, and then also using questions to encourage feedback, and also respecting opinions and experiences of each and every one of us. So to kickstart the first part, I think the most important thing is to try to understand what is sustainable development. And the best definition that we have about sustainable development was provided by a commission that was called the Brundtland Commission report. Brundtland was a former Prime Minister of Norway, and she was the chair of a commission. It was called the United Nations Commission on Environment and Development. And they're the ones who gave us this definition of sustainable development. So sustainable development has to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So if we cannot talk about sustainable development if you are not thinking about tomorrow, if you are wholly focused on meeting our today's needs at the expense of the needs of the generations that will come after us. So just to put into a context, so there are 4 dimensions. I think Monica has alluded to this, to sustainable development. So the first one, we have the society, which carries the people, the culture, which belongs to the people also. And then we have the environment part, mostly it's called the planet part. And then we have the economy, which is a result of the interaction between the people, the environment, and culture. So to talk about sustainable development, we talk about the point where the 4 dimensions are interlinked. So at that sweet spot where all the 4 dimensions meet, that's where sustainable development occurs. It's not wholly on the economy, it's not wholly on the environment, it's not wholly on society or culture, but it's about the interaction of the four dimensions. So, but to simplify, mostly say culture is part of the society. So we usually talk about the people as part of the society, and then the economy and the environment. So the relationship is in a way that for people to grow the economy, they have to get resources from the environment. And for people maybe to, if there are any negative impacts on the environment, if there are like waste management, people dump the waste into the environment. So the relationship is closely linked. And again, at the intersection of the three dimensions, you get sustainable development. So the relationship between sustainable development, the 3 dimensions, the economy, the society, and the environment is like the blood circulation system. So for example, if somebody asks you, which is more important? Is it the heart, the blood, the lungs, or all of them? Which one do you think is more important? This is just an open question. So there's a poll there. Which one do you think is more important? So my point on that is that the heart is important because it pumps blood. The blood is important because the blood carries oxygen to the heart. The lungs are important because the lungs, yeah, good. So the lungs are important because they do what? They infuse oxygen into the blood. So if you look at whichever part of the blood circulation system is important, you find that all of them are important because each and every part of it has a role to play in terms of supporting life. So the same applies to the dimensions of sustainable development. You can't have just an environment because there's a society that has to be supported. There's an economy that also has to be grown, and the economy supports the life that is on Earth or on the planet. So all of them are important. We can't emphasize one at the expense of the other. What we try to emphasize is that the benign management or good management of each dimension, so that we have a sustainable world. So once again, the emphasis is there. All are equally important. We can't say my business will just pursue profits, because when we say that, we'll be chasing the economy at the expense of maybe the society. We'll not treat our employees well. We'll not be managing our resources well. So they're likely to be degraded. So next, I'd like to present some facts and figures about the environmental and social management situation in the world now. So as at now, we are using the resources that are an equivalent of 1.6 Earths. So we are requiring resources beyond whatever that the Earth can provide to maintain our current way of life, and ecosystems cannot keep up with their demands. There are people who are called, there's something called the Earth Overshoot Day. This is the time that, this is the day that the resources that can support the humans on Earth get depleted. So mostly like last year, it was in August. So it means that from January to August, we've already utilized all the resources that are on Earth. And beyond that, we are running a deficit. So we are using more resources than what the Earth can provide. In terms of climate change, there are targets that are aimed at reducing, limiting the global temperatures to 1.5 degrees centigrade by the end of the century. And the goal of halving greenhouse gases by 2030. So there's just a 50% chance that global warming will exceed 1.5 degrees centigrade in the next 2 decades if nothing is done. So, and I think everybody is aware of the impacts of climate change, the extreme weather events that are happening, the people are getting displaced, the economic losses that are happening. For example, there are fires that are like never seen before because of maybe drought that is persistent, that is never ending. And then there's a recognition that if the world invests more in renewable energy, then we'll be able to achieve that objective of keeping global warming within 1.5 degrees centigrade. In terms of the planet, nature and the biodiversity loss, there's ecosystem degradation that is affecting close to half of the people on this planet. That is 40% of the population. Every year, the ecosystem services that are being lost, species that are being lost, the farmlands that people depend on in the world are being degraded. Natural ecosystems are being degraded to create more farmlands for people, to feed more people in the world. And the last one, there's a fact that 80% of biodiversity loss is caused by people trying to produce more food. So in terms of pollution, the impact is huge. 7 million premature deaths every year. That is one in 9 of all deaths that occur in the world are caused by pollution. And then 9 out of 10 people in the world breathe unclean air. In terms of the human rights, we have women and girls who are disproportionately vulnerable to modern slavery, accounting to 71% of all victims. And this information you can find from the Global Slavery Index website. And then for an example about Kenya is that Kenya is a source of transit, a source and transit and destination for men, women, and children subjected to forced labor and sex trafficking. So in terms of human rights, if you visit the Global Slavery Index website, you'll be able to see the figures for each and every country and the forms in which trafficking is done, what the governments are doing. And I think an example here is about human rights is, I think there's an advisory against buying the solar home systems that are made in Xinjiang in China, because it's believed that they use forced labor to produce the systems. So at this juncture, I'd like to invite you a small discussion about the environmental and social issues that you face in your country or your region. Is there anybody who'd like to contribute? Maybe to highlight some of the issues?
So I'll just go ahead and unmute our participants. There's Henry, Frederic, and if you'd like to talk, just raise your hand because we can participate in the discussion. So just let me know. Maybe John, you could repeat the question and then they could participate.
So this is just an extension of the environmental and social issues I've been highlighting, some of them. So I'm just inviting the participants to share some of the environmental and social issues in their country or region.
Would anyone like to share the experiences?
So we continue.
Sure.
Okay. So in the next session, I'm just going to present a brief history in terms of environmental and social management. There is a misunderstanding that environmental and social management is a recent thing, but that is not the case. Because if you go back into history, you find that environmental and social management has been there even during the ancient civilizations. For example, in ancient Mesopotamia, there's that code of Hammurabi. There is written on that sculpture on the left. So, and that code has 282 laws that govern contracts, and it is known that during that time, if you are a contractor and you built a house, and somehow the house collapsed and killed somebody, the contractor was required to take responsibility for it. So, and there are many aspects of that code that are implemented in contracts, even today, the contracts that we are using, in terms of making sure that people have or take responsibility for everything they do. So in terms of religion, we have the golden and silver rule that are mostly geared towards creating a sustainable society. So you'll find in many religions, we have the golden rule that requires us not to do unto others what we don't want them to do unto us. So this rule takes no account of human differences in terms of society hierarchy, and it's mostly about ensuring that everybody is happy. You know, everybody is happy, and only good things that make people happy are the ones that are covered under the rule. But in other religions also you find there's the silver rule, where it says that you do not do unto others what you don't want them to do to you. So from an environmental and social management point of view, this is more direct and active. It means that you should not do harm because you don't want to be harmed. So, and it also requires you to have some skin in the game. You take some responsibility, you take some personal risk, and then also guarantees freedoms. You know, it's libertarian. So fast forward to the 1950s, there's a marine biologist or an ecologist. She was called Rachel Carson. She was studying the impact of human activities on the environment in the 1950s, and she was saying that all the human activities, like trying to conquer space, trying to destroy nature as much as possible, trying to explore the oceans, and trying to grow their economies, were in the end just like man was waging war against himself. So as much as we are trying to conquer nature, that that role was not, in the end, the human beings were the ones who are going to be hurt. So, and you can read more about Rachel Carson and a publication which is called The Silent Springs. This is mostly viewed as the publication that kickstarted the modern environmental movement in the world. So in short, what Carson was saying is that I found this cartoon and I was doing research on the impact. You can see the person is reading a magazine, and I think the rope is showing that there are species that are being lost, but the person is just acting ignorant and saying that what is the loss of a few maybe crickets to him. But you can see the rope at the end of the day, the rope will end up strangling him. So I think that is a good summary of what Rachel Carson was working on and what she published. So after that publication by Rachel Carson, we have the United Nations process. We have that conference that was done in 1972 on human environment. That conference led to the establishment of UNEP here in Kenya. And then in 1987, I think I've talked about that commission. It was called Our Common Future, the Brundtland Commission on Environment and Development. That's where they defined sustainable development. In 1992, there was the Earth Summit, Conference on Environment and Development in Brazil, where the instrument on, it's called the Agenda 21, where participants started talking about the importance of undertaking environmental and social impact assessments. So 10 years after that, we have that World Summit on Sustainable Development in Johannesburg. This is the first summit that businesses participated in the discussions about creating a sustainable world and trying to create a prosperous world, conserving natural resources, and providing for the marginalized in society. So from that summit, we got the, which expired in 2014. And then in 2015, we had that Sustainable Development Summit, where we got the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So parallel to that, the United Nations Environmental Assembly was created in 2014, and they meet every 2 years in Nairobi. In those meetings, they provide leadership that catalyzes intergovernmental action on environment and also contributes to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's important also I cover the IFC Performance Standards. This came into realization, I think, in the early 2000s. So the standards are 8, and they cover different aspects about environmental and social management. The first one is about assessment and management of environmental and social risks and impacts. And this is the umbrella performance standard, because it requires that businesses have something like an environmental and social management system. The second standard covers labor and working conditions, taking care of the social sphere, making sure that businesses comply with the International Labour Organization standards, and then also trying to eliminate child labor, forced labor, and also promote safe and health working conditions. The third standard is about reducing pollution. So we have resource efficiency and pollution prevention. That's why, as part of the Helpdesk, we'll be covering the issue about e-waste. We're just trying to promote resource efficiency and pollution prevention. The fourth standard is about ensuring that the community is not harmed from activities of the businesses or the companies. The fifth one is about land acquisition and environmental resettlement, involuntary resettlement. So for those who are operating mini grids, this just ensures that if you are taking land, you take it in the right way, and there is no involuntary displacement of people. If there is any displacement of people, then they are correctly compensated. The sixth standard is about biological conservation. The seventh one is about covering protection of the indigenous peoples. These are people who are endemic to some areas where there are resources. So it makes sure that they are not mistreated, and they are well engaged when there's project implementation. So the last standard is about cultural heritage, and covers both tangible cultural heritage, which is mostly artifacts or buildings or anything, and then also intangible cultural heritage, like songs, poems, and so on. Dennis, I can hear you.
All right, great. You may proceed. Thank you.
Okay. So my request for this session is that we interact, we be more active, we discuss as we try to understand what is a sustainable business, what are some of the sustainable businesses that we've interacted with, that we know, can we define our businesses or our companies as sustainable, and so on. So according to Harvard Business School, the definition of a sustainable business is a business that has no negative impacts on the environment, on the community and society. We remember the four dimensions of sustainable development. So Harvard Business School says that the goal of a sustainable business strategy is to make a positive impact on at least one of those areas. When companies fail to assume responsibility, the opposite can happen, leading to issues like environmental degradation, inequality, and social justice. So a sustainable business, according to them, is a business that considers a wide array of factors before making any decisions. And the areas they look at environmental, economic, and social factors. And they monitor the impact of the operations to ensure that short-term profits do not turn into long-term liabilities. So they continue to emphasize that a sustainable business strategy is always unique to each organization, and must always tie into the larger business goals and organizational values. So, and they're giving an example of using sustainable raw materials in manufacturing process, optimizing supply chains to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, relying on renewable energy sources to power facilities, and then sponsoring education funds for youth in the local community. So the other way to look at a sustainable business is to look at the application of the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line was propositioned by somebody called John Elkington. He said that the goal of sustainability in business is to balance the economic, social, and environmental responsibilities that every business has. So the triple bottom line is a concept that emphasizes measuring social and environmental impact in addition to financial performance. mostly you find our businesses are focused on the bottom line without trying to measure their impact on environment and the society. So the triple bottom line simply means the three P's. So you have the people, which is equal to the society. We have the planet, which is an equivalent to the environment. And then we have profit, which is equivalent to the economy. So this ties into our initial understanding of sustainable development. So a business that delivers those benefits to the three spheres is said to have achieved a triple bottom line. So I have a question here. Do you know any businesses that are sustainable in general and also in your industry? So this is for discussion. Any examples in renewable energy industry? Or you just assume that because we're engaged in renewable energy, then it must be sustainable?
So we have a response from Henry. Henry says, in the case of Safaricom, aside from being profitable, the company allocates significant resources, both human and financial, to ensure the business activities are sustainable and environmental.
That's okay.
Thank you, Henry.
Another example?
I would say maybe Coca-Cola. Despite their huge profits, you also see them making effort, especially when you look at like plastic, the plastic that we use in their bottles, them trying to create programs around that, how those plastics can be sort of collected and then recycled better. So Coca-Cola.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Is there an example in the renewable energy? Like the people who are covered by EARF, an example of a sustainable business?
We have another response from Frederick. The response is, we at least try to exchange gensets. I assume that is a generator set for solar, petrol for solar. Frederick, could you share which company or which organization you're affiliated to when you say we? If that's okay. All right. Vitalite in Senegal. So that's an example of one of the beneficiaries to your question, John.
Okay. That is welcome.
Thank you for your comment, Frederick. Anyone else would like to respond to the question? Okay, I think that's all for now.
Like, so according to a survey that is done every year on sustainability leaders for 2021-2022, these are the most sustainable businesses in the world. There's Unilever, there's Patagonia, there's the beauty company Natura, there's IKEA there, and then there's Tesla. I'm surprised nobody talked about Tesla. And then there's Google. So There are frameworks that are in place in terms of like a club of businesses that are sustainable or chasing sustainability. So we have one of the frameworks that is in place or organizations, the UN Global Compact, that brings together businesses that seek to align their strategies and operations with the 10 principles on human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption, and also the businesses that want to contribute to the SDGs. And that framework, so you'll see at some point it merges with the requirements of the IFC Performance Standards, because they talk about the human rights, they talk about the International Labour Organization Declaration on Principles and Rights at Work. We have the Declaration on Environment from the Rio Summit. And then we have that Convention against Corruption. So the 10 principles are here for the businesses. And I think every country has like a local chapter of the Global Compact. So when you sign up, you're required to align your businesses, try to make sure that you support and respect the internationally proclaimed human rights. You make sure that you're not complicit in human rights abuses. In terms of labor, businesses uphold the freedom of association and effective recognition to collective bargaining, elimination of forced labor and compulsory labor, and then child labor also abolition, elimination of discrimination on employment and occupation. And then there are those principles on environment. So businesses should support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges. This just means that you have to do an assessment of every activity that you're doing as a business to make sure that it does not harm the environment. And then also you be proactive, you promote greater environmental responsibility by starting initiatives, and then encourage the development and the vision of environmentally friendly technologies. Yeah. So the last one on anti-corruption, I think that one is just about operating environment in countries like Kenya, where corruption is a problem. So when we are discussing about the triple bottom line, I mentioned that it was proposed by John L. Kington. So in his rethinking of the triple bottom line, I think 2 years ago in 2020, he proposed something called the Green Swans. He said that the solutions that take us exponentially towards breakthrough, we need systemic solutions to global challenges, solutions that tap into positive exponentials. So meaning that exponential progress is in the form of economic, social, and environmental health creation. So the thinking that he has is that we are facing enormous challenges, and we need to communicate more and develop more toolkits to address the challenges that we have. When I was presenting about the facts and figures in the world, we saw that the problems are huge. And based on that, we need to have bigger solutions. We need to communicate more about the issues that we are facing in environmental and social management. And it gives an example of like electrification of vehicles. You know, with the time, this can move the world away from the fossil fuels, which are major contributors to greenhouse emissions. So I'm back to the report on sustainability leaders for 2021-2022. they tried to rank the problems that are facing the world, the challenges in terms of environmental and social management. You can see that climate change is remaining important. Biodiversity loss, the importance has reduced. The issues about water pollution that are currently not losing the ranking position, and poverty. And then issues about food security, they're still held as important, needs to be addressed. Water scarcity needs to be addressed. And one thing about this survey by Globscan and the Sustainability Institute is that it has been going on for the last 10 years. And every year they survey around 700 sustainability leaders around the world. So it's something that that gives direction on the progress of sustainability, what are the issues that needs to be addressed, and by who. You'll see later that they're also trying to apportion responsibility on who should take what action in terms of driving sustainability forward. So as we move forward, we can now move to integrating sustainability. So I don't know how many companies that are participating in this training. I don't know if they can tell us in terms of the opinion, where do they rank their companies in terms of integrating sustainability in the company operations? So if you've not integrated anything about sustainability, maybe it'll be less than 20. If you've done some aspects about integrating sustainability, maybe 60. If you've integrated everything about sustainability, then you should be having a perfect score of 100%. So where are we?
So we have 50% saying they're at 80% of integrating sustainability in their company. 25% say they're at 60%, and the remaining 25% say that they're less than 20%.
I think that is impressive in terms of trying to measure how far the companies have gone in integrating sustainability into their operations. So I like to emphasize that it is very important for businesses or the companies to integrate sustainability, and mostly SMEs, because like 90% of the businesses in the world, they're SMEs. So, and the businesses contribute up to 45% of the total employment in the world. And then they also make a contribution of around 33% to the GDP of emerging economies. So it's very important for SMEs to integrate sustainability, because they're going to increase their contribution to employment and even the quality of employment that is there, and also increase their contribution to the GDP in the economies that they are operating in. So this is what I was talking about in terms of that survey of sustainability leaders. So here they were asking who should lead the sustainable development in the 20 years. And you can see the national governments from 2016, that role has been viewed that the national governments needs to do more. So it has, the importance has increased to 40% by 6 percentage points. So this just means that if the businesses do not voluntarily integrate sustainability in their operations, then they are likely to be required by governments to comply, as a compliance issue. And then you can see the private sector, the second sector there. The importance is also increasing from 34 to 36%. So there's that agreement that businesses need to do more in terms of driving sustainable development in the next 20 years. And if you go to the last part in that chart, the international financial institutions, you can also see the importance has also grown by 4% from 2016 to 2022. So if you're a business, you're operating in a country, the country will require you to integrate sustainability in your operations. And then also if you are seeking funding, it's highly likely that the financial institutions will also require you to integrate sustainability in your operations. So the emergence of sustainability integration, I think it happens at 5 levels. Mostly companies start from crisis management. Then we need to comply with the regulatory frameworks that are in our country. Then the third one, you want to do resource optimization. Then you say, now the fourth step is about, you want to use sustainability as a competitive advantage. And then also the last one is about building a purpose-driven company, that everything revolves around sustainability. Everything you do every day is about sustainability. So you move from risk management at the lower ranks of that ladder, you go to increasing productivity within the company. And then the final stage is where now you are pursuing growth that is done with the guidance of sustainability principles. So, and at the different stages, the different focus, there's different focus, there's a different philosophy, there's a different leadership, and then there's also different business value. For example, at the first level where sustainability is done at the operational level, the focus is just operations. And then the philosophy is about we want to save money and improve our compliance. And then those actions are not connected to the company or the business strategy. And then the leadership at that level is just a sustainability manager. And then for you to create publicity, you have to pay for advertising to tell your story. Your story does not speak for itself. And mostly this are done within less than a year. And then your key business value at that level is just, we are seeking to get goodwill and also get some cost savings. So at the strategic level, the focus is just you seek to integrate sustainability in the company strategy. And then the philosophy is sustainability helps us achieve our corporate priorities. And then the sustainability becomes a component of the strategy, of the business strategy. And at this level, you have somebody who's just focused on sustainability. So you have a chief sustainability officer who sits on the board. And then at this level, in terms of marketing, you earn media because they cover the whatever activities that you are doing. So there's cost marketing of that tells the story about the company. And mostly these activities are done over a given number of years. And the value that you get from that is you get a reputation, a good reputation, and also you benefit from growth of the business. So I'll skip to the fourth level, which is the highest level. So at this level, the focus is core purpose and business model. The business model of the company is about sustainability. And the vision here is being sustainable. The company determines our corporate priorities. And sustainability is central to the strategy. They cannot be separated from the corporate strategy of the business. And then the person who leads this process is the CEO of the company. And everything the company does tells you the story, their sustainability story. And then the timeline is long term, mostly between 5 to 7 years. And then the business value is long-term viability of the company and value creation for all stakeholders that are involved. So I'd like to ask, was it Henry? What level you think Safaricom is at?
Henry, you can type in the chat or just unmute and say and contribute, whichever is easier.
And Vitalite also can tell us which level they are on that continuum. So at 3.0 at the integrated level, I think I had skipped that. So the focus of integration is mostly about governance and management. So the philosophy says sustainability is a factor in how we manage the company and conduct business day to day. And whatever new activities that you're creating, make sure that sustainability is included. And then you have a committee that manages sustainability. And your customers tell the story. Mostly this is between 3 to 5 years. And at this point, the value that you want to get from that integration is profitability and risk management. So have we gotten a response from Henry or Vitalite?
Yes, we have a response from Frederick. The response is they are at level 4. Yes. So Vitalite is at level 4.
That's impressive.
Okay, so Vitalite level 4, no response. Henry.
Okay. So I think we can continue. But the most important thing from that table is the progression as we move from firefighting to making the company and sustainability being inseparable. And it's something that happens over time. It's not something that you can hack in one day. So at what point do you say that our sustainability integration activities are creating value for the company? So the three main characteristics that explain that. We say the first one is value is created within the context of sustainability. You are able to deliver value. If you look at the figure on the right, you have the company in the middle. The company in the middle, Then you have the 3 dimensions that we talked about we've been talking about from the beginning. So the society, environment, and economy, they are all managing that. So that forms the sustainability context of the business. And then now you have the stakeholders that you have to deliver value to. You have the employees of the company, you have customers, you have suppliers, you have communities that you operate in, you have shareholders, and you have governments. So you say the second characteristic is that you deliver value beyond the financial gain only, so that all the other stakeholders are also seeing or getting value from the operations of the business. And that forms the third characteristic of value creation. So this is a bit old information, but we can use it all the same. These are the findings of the results of the companies that were interviewed sometime in 2016. So 41% of them say that integrating sustainability has helped position their company as in a way that it has given them competitive advantage. The 33% integrating sustainability has helped them achieve compliance with the required laws in their jurisdictions. And then 28%, the sustainability has increased their brand reputation. And then 27% financial benefits, they've seen financial benefits, maybe from cost savings. And then 21% sustainability has improved their relations with the different stakeholders. So what are some of the risks that are associated with the lack of sustainability integration? I think you can all remember the Volkswagen scandal, where they were installing gadgets in cars to defeat the emission testing. So they had to pay a fine of around 15 billion to customers and the regulators. And then that scandal also saw their stock price plummeting. They also suffered reputational damage. So the risk that they faced were transition risks in terms of, and then their name was, their reputation was damaged, and then they were liable, the fine that they paid, and then also the reduction in stock price, they suffered financial risk. That is just one example of the risk associated with the lack of sustainability integration. So in integrating sustainability, companies also face challenges. And the first challenge is usually we don't have a budget for that. And then you get that the companies have competing internal priorities. And then the most critical challenge is usually the bottom line. You know, we are chasing short-term profit over long-term focus. We just say we are here to make profits. We are not here to take care of the environment or the people that work for us. And then resource limitations on budgets. And then there is no investment in sustainability outside the owning department, siloed. So sometimes you get a company is working on sustainability, they're trying to integrate sustainability, but you just get the activities are in one department. The other areas of the company don't know about the activities that are being implemented in that specific department. And then there's the external pressures, making sustainability a lower priority. And then some companies lack key performance indicators to measure success. I think you've heard about the mantra that what gets measured gets managed. So if you don't have key performance indicators, then it means that you have no compass to measure how you are progressing. And then sometimes you get the senior management of the company is not involved in the sustainability integration process. So question to ponder here for all of us. What are some of the benefits of integrating sustainability for your company? Dennis?
Yes.
This is for the plenary.
Yes, I'm monitoring the chat. Would you like the audience to contribute?
Yes.
All right.
Mostly I'd like to hear from Vitalite. Can they speak?
Frederick, are you able to speak?
There's a language barrier. French, English.
Please do. Just unmute and then go ahead and share. So the question is, what are some of the benefits of integrating sustainability for your company? It's the question that is currently being displayed. What are some of the benefits of integrating sustainability for your company?
Dennis.
Yes, so we have a response. Frederick is typing, so I'm just giving them time to finish. But the response is that they replace fossil fuels with solar, and they also have corporate social responsibility programs where they collect default batteries and then they recycle. Yeah. So Frederick, are you able to maybe highlight on the benefits of this corporate social responsibility programs on your on the business and on your organization? What are some of the benefits that you have observed, if any?
Well, I think you hear me now. I think it's just, as it is our mission, company's mission to be sustainable and trying to not use polluted material. I don't think it's a benefit for me using it. It's just the philosophy of my company. We should avoid endanger the environment more and avoid climate change more. I think it's the only way to do this business. This is how I want to do a business.
Satisfactory.
Yes, that is good, but I don't think I've gotten the crust of it, because apart from just the activities that are like preventing the pollution from the batteries and replacing the fossil fuel generators with solar. So how has the company benefited from those activities? Or they just do it as CSR?
I don't see how we benefit from it. I think our clients benefit from our products, and our staff is benefiting from our policies in place. And I don't see a special benefit for me as an enterprise, rather than following our mission. What benefit do you think of? I think I don't understand your question.
That is okay. That is okay. You know, when you talk about your mission, then you know, and you had indicated that the company is at level 4. So you're just fulfilling your purpose to make sure that your business is sustainable. it does not have any negative impacts on the environment and society. That is okay. But Dennis, do you have another contribution?
No. But we also have, this is a question from Rebecca.
Yes.
So Rebecca is asking the participants if they get good public relations with customers and if it improves the brand image. So far no response on that, but that is just an angle that Rebecca is trying to bring in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can proceed.
Yes, yes. If there's any other responses, I'll alert you promptly.
So the next we will be covering the process of integrating sustainability. And when we are looking at the sustainability surge model, the first rank, the lower ranks were mostly about compliance. So the first thing you can do to integrate sustainability is just try to comply with the laws that are in the different jurisdictions that you operate in, because mostly those laws are geared towards making sure that you observe environmental and social management, that your activities do not have a negative impact on that. So to create shared value opportunities, the strategy for business or for a company is to first think about what are the needs that they're trying to meet at the market, what products do they need to make, and then what kind of customers do they want to serve. So the objective is always to try and meet the needs of the society through the products the company is selling, and also trying to serve markets that are usually marginalized or underserved by other companies. The second aspect about creating shared value is redefining productivity in the value chain. I think we are going to look at that in the next few slides in terms of how do you utilize your resources? How do you get your resources? What kind of energy do you use to produce your products? Who are your suppliers? What are their characteristics? How do they get their supplies? The logistics that you carry, the outbound logistics, how are you managing that? Are you able to track your carbon footprint when you're doing supplies? And then are you treating your employees differently? So when you do that, you're really redefining the productivity in the value chain and seeking to get benefits from that. Then the last aspect about creating shared value opportunities, improving the local and regional business environment. So how do you improve the skills of the people in the communities that you're trading in or you're working in? Is there anything that you can do to make sure that your supplier base also pays attention to environmental and social management? Are you involved in lobbying for policies that seek to promote good environmental and social management in the different countries that you operate in? Are you supporting institutions that are in that area? Institutions that maybe are doing lobbying and advocacy for an issue like e-waste management? And then also strengthening the cluster that on which the company depends. So which is the most important cluster for the company? Is it the suppliers? Is it the consumers? If it's the consumers, are you undertaking consumer education so that they're able to know if their batteries are one, where do they check them? How do they manage them? So those are the three areas for creating shared value opportunities. And I think I like to just to create some emphasis on now at the business level. Mostly we know about a business model. We know the components of a business model. Mostly, if you ask, what is your business about? Somebody is asking for your customer value proposition. So what are the outputs from your business? What are the product services that you're producing? The nature of your customer base? What are the key activities that you undertake in your business? So what is your profit formula? We look at the revenue streams and the cost structures, and then the capital inputs, the critical relationship that you need with your partners to get that capital in order to deliver the value proposition, and then the outcome impacts. How is the company managing the 6 capitals, the financial capital, the human, manufactured, social, and relationship, and natural capital? Are you having any impacts on any of those capitals? Are you growing them or you're depreciating them? And then is your business model forward-looking? As in, is it resilient to the current operating environment and also the future? So simply, that is the business model canvas. And there's always a relationship between the different elements of that model. You find mostly on the left side, that is where the negative impacts are, because that's where the key relationship that the business has, that's where the key activities are done. And then that's where the key resources are. That's where you get resources, maybe from nature or from wherever. And then also the cost structures on that side. So when you look at the business model canvas and you want to connect it maybe to the sustainable development goals, you look at that left side is mostly about the negative impacts from the business. And then the right side, where you talk about the value proposition, the relationship that you maintain with your customers, the different customer segments that you have, and then the channels that you use to provide the service to the customers, and then the revenue. So that side usually is the value side of the business model. So mostly that's where you get the positive impacts. So I don't want to dwell so much on the sustainable development goals. I think we have a basic understanding of them. I think they've been around for around 7 years. 7 years now, and they'll be ending in the next 7 years, that is 2030. So when you're looking at your business and wanting it to contribute to creating shared value, you look at the SDGs. Which SDGs is your business making a contribution to? So what there's an example here. So you look at the raw materials that you use as a business. Is it increasing the positive impacts the business has on, for example, the SDG number 8, that is 6, to provide a living wage to all employees at all sites? So the people that are supplying you with the raw materials, how is their business designed? The workers well taken care of? When you look at your company operations, are you paying the employees a living wage? If you are doing so, then you are contributing to SDG number 8. And then in terms of the produce use, the product use. So there's that aspect about the carbon footprint of the product. Is your product recyclable? How much energy is required to produce your product? So you measure. Are you making a positive contribution or you're making a negative contribution? So for example, another example is for the suppliers. the people that supply your business, what is the resource management like? Are they using, for example, a lot of water, or they have implemented solutions that reduce the amount of water they need in their production? And then another example is distribution. Do you have, if you're distributing your products using cars, do you have like a policy for drivers? When they're out there driving on the roads, do they adhere to certain operating procedures to make sure that they do not cause accidents and endanger community health and safety? And then at the product end life, there is SDG 12. By developing and delivering products that allow us to reduce the energy use and related greenhouse gas emissions. So you look at the value chain of the company, and then at each stage of the value chain, is it raw materials, is it suppliers, is it the inbound logistics, the company operations, the outbound logistics or distribution, the product use, and the product end life. So you choose what area your business is going to make a contribution. If you're producing e-waste, you know that you're contributing maybe to SDG 13 or SDG 12 that seeks to reduce the amount of waste that is produced. So that is the relationship between the value chain and the business model canvas. So you just connect the different company activities to the value chain. Then you'll be able to identify areas that your company is making a positive or a negative contribution. And then after that, you're able to come to the logic model. So what are the inputs that go into a company? What are the activities that you undertake? What comes from those activities that you undertake in terms of the output? And then outcome, what changes in the target population have occurred as a result of your activities and outputs? And then are you having the impact that you seek in the target population? Like, for example, the impact of reducing energy poverty. Whatever activities that you're doing from the inputs through activities, output, outcome, are you having that impact on the target population that form your customers? So I think that will be our last slide in terms of integrating sustainability to create shared value. And I'll open this to questions, any contributions, any opinions.
I have provided all the participants with an opportunity to speak. So if you'd like to contribute, just unmute and then share any questions. Alternatively, you can also post it in the chat. Okay, we don't seem to have any questions at this time.
So then that will be the end of our workshop on integrating sustainability to create shared value. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that has been patient to participate in this workshop. And I think I'll hand over to you, Dennis.
Thank you, John, for that insightful training. I'll give Monica an opportunity to give closing remarks before we wrap up. Monica, if you're able to hear me, just
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, John, for the presentation. And I think, as Dennis has said, it was quite insightful. And I especially liked the last slides where you talked about how to integrate how a company can go about thinking about their tasks. So if it's straight from your inputs to your to the activities and the outputs and the outcomes, how you go about reviewing each of those steps and seeing how you can begin to think about them sustainably and how you can change them. And so I think it's again to reiterate, thank you so much for your time, John. We welcome any questions that the participants may have that may come to them even after this workshop. We have the email address for the helpdesk, the EARF helpdesk@clasp.ngo. We welcome any questions that you may have, any kind of support that you may require alongside along the topics that the helpdesk is focusing on. We welcome them. We also want to just mention here that we'll have another webinar coming up in July, mid-July, around 14th of July, and we will be focusing on e-waste. I think this will also be a very interesting topic and a very relevant topic, especially at this time when we're trying to conserve our resources. But again, so thank you so much for sparing the time to join this workshop. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Monica. At this juncture, I would like to bring the workshop to a close and express my gratitude to John for facilitating this session, Monica for being a gracious co-host, and for all the participants who made time to attend. As I'd mentioned at the beginning, this session was being recorded, and we will share the recording for this session along with a survey in the coming days. So thank you for making time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.